Hi,
Hi, how are
how
you?
are you doing? I'm good, how are you?
I'm good, thank you so much. By the way, you look really pretty.
Thank you so much. That's so nice, I was
Okay.
not expecting that.
I mean, isn't it kind enough to say what you're thinking about? So what I was thinking is that, oh my God, she's pretty. So it's out there.
Thank you. When you joined, I was just talking to a friend and I said I'm doing a live
Hmm.
with this really cool person who's also really pretty and I really admire it when there's this whole thing where women are pretty, they can't be smart. I mean, I hope it still doesn't exist, but I've grown up with that. So I really, really like it when there are people who can show it to the world that it's not true. They can come up on platforms and display it. That's another reason I really admire Emma Watson.
Thank you. That was thank you so much. I am also someone who really, really believes in just saying whatever we're thinking of, especially when it comes to complimenting other people, because one approach is being either jealous of, oh my God, she's really pretty, or just being like, oh my God, she's really pretty. So I am someone who goes with the second approach.
So, Anumeha, can we begin our session? I think we have lots of questions we want to
100%.
ask you.
Please,
So,
please go.
this is one question we always ask everybody who comes to any Sakshi live. So, just three words you would use to describe how you are feeling today.
How I'm feeling today is grateful. I'm feeling
Mhm.
calm. And I'm feeling generous.
Okay, so is everything good back home? I mean, are you safe?
Thankfully, gratefully, we are all safe. Me and all my friends are all safe. So we're taking all precautions we can and we're taking as much care as we can. How about you? You and your family safe and your friends?
Going well here. Yeah. It's better here. I think
Good,
we're
good.
doing better than we were. So, speaking
That's
of
good.
your journey in psychotherapy and
Hmm.
psychology, so what led you
Hmm.
to get into this field? Just tell us a little bit about your journey.
Sure. So basically, I was in high school when my grandfather was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, and that is when I realized that there's not a lot of mental health services available around which are easily accessible. So initially, when I went to London, got trained in a lot of different psychotherapies as well as different tools in psychology, I understood that the level of mental health awareness and mental health services accessible there are beautiful. And coming back to India and building something like that was like a dream. And then, of course, my family was here. So then I decided to come back and do something over here. And then I came back and I studied a little bit more because, of course, works a little differently in India. So I had to study a little bit more over here. And then I got the opportunity to open my own practice over here. So that is how it all began.
So, how are you liking it? I mean, has your practice and the way you approach your patients changed after the pandemic? Is there some susceptible change you can see?
100%. See, what the pandemic is doing is it's creating a lot of anxiety in people, more than depression or obsessive compulsive thoughts. What's commonly visible, or what I observe the most in people is anxiety in any little things, right? So, for example, health anxiety that, oh, I have a headache. Oh my God, I have COVID. I have a little bit of cough. Oh my God, I have COVID. So, this is one thing that I deal with on a very regular basis, health anxiety right now. So, I have to make sure that, people know, okay, yeah, people know what they're talking about when they come to me. So, I have to help them become more mindful in terms of their health. So, that is
So,
how it goes.
so how has that experience been for you yourself? I mean, you also are going through a pandemic, right? So,
Of
how do you protect
course.
yourself? So, it's not going to be an easy task even for you to deal with patients. I mean, pretty sure you're going through similar anxiety as well.
So initially, when this all began, yes, there was a lot of anxiety going on. But I think as a psychologist, also as someone who believes in spirituality, I am someone who decided to stay grounded and calm. So if I am feeling anxious, the first thing I do is just sit with my own self. I would start, either I would meditate or I would just take deep breaths and I would ask myself, is it seriously something you're feeling? Or is it just a negative thought that you're growing inside of you? And that is how it really helps. So that is exactly what I teach other people as well. That you have the power to control it. You just have to be very patient with yourself. So yeah, it took a little practice, but it's kind of better.
I really like that approach because a lot of people, especially I see around me, who just their approach to it is it's in your head, get it out of there. But there's a very fine line because you could actually be sick, or you could just it could be a negative
100%.
thought there. So it's something which has to be dealt with very delicately.
100%. That is the thing. See, if someone is coming to me on a personal level, if someone's meeting me face to face, I haven't done offline work since the last 20 to 25 days. It's all been online. But before that, when I started my clinic, I would make sure if someone is having any kind of physical symptoms, the first thing I would do is have them tested before coming to me. Social distancing and 95 masks, this was all a must to not just protect them, but to protect myself out of feeling the same levels of anxiety that they were going through.
Makes sense. I mean, even as a doctor, I mean, you have a responsibility towards your patient, but you also have a responsibility
100%.
towards yourself and your family.
Exactly, 100%.
So we were just talking, and at Sakshi, we have this whole principle where we want to build communities of care, but we want to do it
Hmm.
with compassion. We don't really want to go around screaming at people. So I was reading that your motto is to practice with love and kindness. So maybe
Yes.
do you want to talk to us about how that incorporated into your practice and how that became such a huge aspect of your life and your practice?
100%. So when I came back to India, there was this hospital, I'm not going to name it, but I was working there, and I saw that very likely a few people would just, like a few doctors, would just go around giving patients medicines or just treating them as one of the patients. That is it. And that is not how I viewed mental health. To me, mental health is something that connects one person to the other, right? So that is why I thought this is not kind. For example, there was this one patient who was going through depression, so she was being given antipsychotics. So because that is what they thought is good. Now, the thing about medication is they have very severe side effects, right? So I really believe if one person does not need medication, if someone has the ability to just use their own minds and do it just with the help of therapy, that is something I really, really prefer. Then I thought that being kind is all that really matters. Having a human to human connection, understanding what the other person is feeling, helping them get through it is what matters. Not just that, oh yeah, okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and use my rules book and just do whatever I think is supposed to be done to a patient. That is not what I believe. So that is why I said that my motto is to practice with love and with kindness and with compassion.
You don't look at them just as a patient. You actually
Yeah,
care
it
about
is.
the person.
Yeah, right. I have an option. I could either be a robot and just help them according to my rules, or I could just try to be a little more human and help them being one of them. So I think being more human is what makes it special. The career, the being
Does
a
that not
psychotherapist.
affect your personal mental health and well-being when you get that attached to a patient?
I never get attached to a patient. So, so see, for example, someone's going through anxiety. Okay, now I would help them get through it. I will be there on every single step. But how do I know that I am not getting affected? Is me staying grounded all the time. I have to be more mindful than ever. I have to understand my boundaries. I have to be within those boundaries and then help the other person. Because if I start getting attached, if I feel their pain, there's no going back. There is no helping their pain. It's all going to come down to me that, oh my God, I am feeling pain. How am I supposed to help myself? Where actually it is about helping them. So, boundaries, grounded, breathing, mindful. This is the one thing I have to go step by step to maintain my own mental health.
So when we do talk about mental health and therapy, there is also a lot of stigma which comes with it, which is one of the big reasons we are holding these sessions themselves in order to
Hmm.
encourage more conversation about it. So, do you deal with that if you deal with younger clients, especially? Do they come to you
Hmm.
with stories of how they were stigmatized, ashamed, and because there is no scope for being upset there.
So, all the time. any kind of a patient, like any kind of client that comes to me of any age, not just teenagers, not just young adults, even people who are like 60, 65 years old, they come to me and they're like, पागलों के डॉक्टर के पास आके मैं क्या करूं? And I was like, I will show you आपको क्या करना है. Just come to me and I'm going to help you out. But the good thing about the stigmatization process in India is that teenagers and young adults, people between, let's say, the age of 15 to the late 20s right now, are people who are accepting that mental health is as important as physical health. People like you, people like me, there are a lot of people like us right now. Initially, they weren't here, right? But right now, they do understand that taking care of their mental health is a priority, because if their mental health is not being taken care of, they probably, go and do things that they wouldn't really need to. Like, for example, self harm is one of those things, right? What is it? It is just a way to process their own pain, process their own feelings. People understand this, and that is a beautiful change that I see in this country right now.
I attended this stand up show the other day, and
Hmm.
something which really stuck with me was, he mentioned that this is an older comic. I think he was about
Hmm.
40, and he said that,
Hmm.
this generation Gen Z has grown up with social media, so they understand
Hmm.
mental health. They understand how to protect it before it gets bad. So it's a protective approach as compared to a prevent. There's a preventive approach, then comes protection, then there is
Hmm.
whatever has to be done in case it reaches that point.
Exactly. Hmm.
So that is something I really appreciate, and I really like that there
100%.
is a lot of discourse happening about mental health. It could be more, but we have to start somewhere.
Exactly.
So, that being said, do you think people's attitudes about approaching a professional has changed in India as compared to whatever you saw back in London?
Okay. So when I started studying psychology, of course, I wasn't working, but I was studying, right? At that time, people were like, oh my God, but like, who's going to come to you? Are you going to deal with things like personality disorders or schizophrenia? Because that is the only mental health problems people understood here. The actual psychosis. Nothing apart from that was considered, that we don't need to really go see a professional for anything apart from psychosis. So yeah, but when I came back, so I came back in the year 2017, late 2017, in the end, and a little stigma was still there. Of course, it was there, but as things started unfolding more, so basically, after I came back to India, for 1 year, I was not working. I was getting trained. I was studying new things. So what I started was I started putting things out there on mental health awareness. And I started getting so many people coming to me and telling me, oh my God, this is so helpful. Thank you so much. This is something we needed to hear, but we didn't know. So I was like, oh my God, people need help, but they don't really know how to ask for it. They don't really know how to reach out for it. So as I started putting it more and more out there, specifically on my Instagram, I saw that there were so many other pages, so many other people who were trying to do the same thing, probably since a very long time. But right now, I think the number of people who would ask for help is so much more than when like before I went to London. Of course, you can't really compare the both because in London it is very natural to take care of their mental health as much as their physical health. Plus, the government incentivizes taking care of the mental health, so they get it for free.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay, that's nice.
yeah. Over here they don't, but I try and help as much as I can. So yeah, I think India is on a better pathway when it comes to mental health awareness compared to a few years ago.
But when we talk about social media, there is also a lot of misinformation, obviously, and there is
Exactly.
also a lot of really generic content which goes out, which is not really applicable to each individual. So it leads to a lot of people
Hmm.
being really confused because they don't understand that there are types of depression now. There is not really something that could fit everybody.
Of
So do
course.
you have to deal with misinformation? Do patients come up to you and say this is something clients come up to you and say this is something I read, and is this true?
Almost every single time when it comes to teenagers or young adults, every single time, because they Google it before they come to me. And they just come to me like, oh my God, I have bipolar personality disorder. And I was like, oh my God, why do you think so? And they're like, because I'm angry sometimes and because I'm not angry sometimes. I'm like, isn't that human? But yeah, there's a lot of misinformation, specifically when it comes to these intensive disorders, like things that get really serious. Like even when it comes to depression, a little phase of sadness could be confused with depression by some people, and they're like, "Oh my God, I've been so depressed." And I'm like, really? Why? Like, why do you think so? They're like, because at night I get kind of sad for like 5-10 minutes, but then I go to sleep. So I get so many people coming to me with, yeah, I googled this. Even things that are like spoken in the conversation while we're having their sessions, they would go back home and they would research that and they would come back to me and they'd be like, "Are you sure you're doing the right thing?" I'm like, thank you so much for taking care of yourself so much, but just a little trust in me, a little. So yeah, I do see so many of these cases. I think, to be really, really honest, I might be one of those people as well. Just because I am a professional, I'm not doing it right now. But for example, if I have to go to a doctor, I would research every single thing that is happening to me in my body. I would remember that and I'd then go to him and be like, "Are you sure I don't have this?" So I think it is pretty natural to ask, but sometimes it creates a problem where the person is not really open minded. The person is just, they have a certain tunnel vision that no, this is what I have. Treat me for this, or I'm going to go to someone else. So, yeah, it does create a little problem sometimes, but apart from that, it's very easy to handle.
So you spoke about wanting to help people recover on their own as opposed to medication. So especially in the pandemic, a lot of us have been harboring really unhealthy lifestyle. I mean, people sleep at 5 a.m. in the morning. You
Hmm.
eat one meal a day, don't drink water. So I just
Hmm.
wanted to get your opinion on what impact it can have on mental health and whatever you can speak to our viewers about it and clear that up because a lot of our viewers are really young. And
Right.
that would,
Okay.
yeah.
I'm going to start with one thing. There is this thing which is seated in our brain that we're supposed to wake up early in the morning. We're supposed to do this. We're supposed to do that. And it's supposed to make you feel good. Alert. That is not true. You can sleep whenever you want. You can eat how much you want to till the time it's making your mind and your body happy. All you have to start doing is start listening to your body, start being more mindful than you are. Okay, now of course, if you are someone who's going through a phase of negative emotions and you're just there sitting there comfortable in that phase, that is an issue. But if you're someone who's like, "Oh my god, so much negativity, I have to do something about this, I'm going to do something." Cool, go ahead. Let's talk about me. I sleep at 2 or 3 o'clock at night. I wake up at 11 o'clock in the morning. I still work. I still study. I still probably dance or sing. I do everything I want to because I'm happy, right? So all of these things revolve around a person's overall wellness. So if you're taking care of yourself, it doesn't matter if your sleep schedule is fucked. It doesn't matter. We're all in the same boat right now. What matters is you are taking care of yourself in every possible way that you know how to. If you're doing your best, you're good. And if someone needs help, we are right here. Right? What do
So
you think about this?
I don't know. I mean, personally, I felt like once I made better lifestyle choices, my mental health improved. But again, that is just something that was very personal to me, and I did everything at the same time. Developed a better sleep schedule, started eating better food, drinking more water. So I don't know what clicked, but
I
that's
mean,
something I
if you're
did.
talking about the amount of food and the water, I think that is very important. Like the relationship between gut health and mental health is out there. You will see it the second you start eating better. And eating better does not mean that you're only eating excessively healthy foods. No, you're eating well. If you're eating a burger once, you're eating at least one or two vegetables once a day. You're drinking 2 to 4 liters of water minimum a day. You're set, right? So yeah, 100%. The relationship between gut health and mental health is very prominent. So one is supposed to be holistic in nature to start seeing results.
There is just so much to uncover when it comes to mental health. I really wish it started being included in your CBSE and school syllabus because I read a lot, I talk to people a lot, but I still don't know everything there is to know, even when it just comes to taking care of myself. So that way,
Right,
I
right.
mean, this is one of the reasons we are doing these lives. I mean, whoever can come here, all
Hmm.
our followers, whoever comes to the Sakshi platform can educate themselves at least a little bit, because
Of
we
course.
bring in people who have very different experiences. But I think we have time for one last question.
Go
Just
on.
a few tips you would like to share with all our viewers and everybody of around our age when it comes to taking care of themselves during the pandemic. Something
Okay,
you would like.
I would love to. Okay. So the first thing that I started doing during the pandemic is something I would want everyone to at least try doing once. Okay. Try and sit still once a day. And by sit still, I don't mean sit on the TV and just lie there on the couch. No. Sit there, sit on the bed, sit on the floor, sit wherever you want. Just close your eyes and just figure out what kind of thoughts are going on inside of you. Are you thinking of what am I going to eat? Are you thinking of, oh my God, this happened in the past. What will I do? Are you thinking of, oh my God, the future really sucks. What am I supposed to do? Then start working on yourself. Figure out things that you love to do, what you can do while sitting at home. It could literally be as easy as watching a movie or watching a certain series. It could be any kind of a hobby: art, music, dancing, working out, cooking, baking, anything that comes to your mind, something that we can do while sitting at home. Firstly, secondly, right? Then comes starting being happy from the inside. How do you do that? Is you start thinking of positive things more than you think of negative things, right? For example, gratitude. Think of gratitude. I am so grateful that I am able to talk to so many people right here. I'm so grateful that any kind of information that goes out might help even one person right now. And for that, I am grateful. Something like this goes on very, very helpful in the long run, specifically in this pandemic. And if anyone out there is going through issues when it comes to studies, with all your, it is the same thing. No one's motivated to study anymore. It is okay. Just take care of your mind and your body and just come down to yourself. Like, just be well. That is it. I'll tell you what I do. Okay, I meditate. I eat and drink good things. I practice breathing techniques almost every single day. I think of things I want to achieve in the long run. I put down points on how am I going to achieve those things. And before I go to bed, I literally have a diary which I will open up and I'll write down one thing every single night before I go to sleep. For example, I am a powerful person and I know what I want. And for that, I'm grateful. I write that and I'm going to go to sleep. Every single day, different things that come to your mind, beautiful things about you or what you want. Just consistency is key. Even if you miss it, and I don't mean every single day for the rest of your life, but twice a week, thrice a week, every day a week, whatever works for you. You understand yourself and then you start living the life you want to. It does not have to consist of getting, I don't know, A grade or earning crazy amounts of money. It is supposed to make you happy. So, is it making you happy? If it is, you're on the right track.
That makes a lot of sense. I think even I will start incorporating this. So thank you so much for sharing it with us. So do you have any parting words you want to share? Or I think we've come to the
It
end of
was
whatever I've prepared.
it was beautiful to talk to you, and I am so glad that I got to share so much with other people. And I would love to know if anyone has any questions. I am here. I would help them out personally. So just let me know if there's anything, any question you have. And it was really great to know you as well.
Thank you so much for coming in. I was about to tell you that you have a lovely vibe about you. You just have a very happy, cheerful personality. So that shows in your work as well. So thank you so much for coming. I'll just take 2 minutes to introduce Sakshi and our
Sure,
project to
please,
everybody
please go
who
ahead.
doesn't know. So Sakshi has been working for the last 3 decades and it focuses on strengthening systemic mechanisms, enabling preventive interventions and the practice of everyday equality. So we have the Rakshin Project, which basically aims to equip NSS volunteers who are from the age of about 18 to 22-year olds to become preventers of harm. So at Sakshi we have a motto where we say ना करेंगे ना करने देंगे, हो रहा है तो रोक के रहेंगे और अगर हुआ है तो बोल के रहेंगे. So you can check out the link in our bio. There is a lot of resources which you can use. There's a lot of information of how you can be part of the Rakshin Project in Sakshi. You can support us monetarily. There's a lot to do, so you can come and volunteer. So that's about it. Thank you so much for coming in today. And we will be tagging Anumeha. So anybody has questions, anybody wants to go back and look at her work, please do. I am a huge fan. I think all of you will be too. So have a
Thank you so
great
much.
rest of the evening and please take care of yourself.
You as
I
well.
hope
Please
the
take care.
weather.
Be safe.